everyone, how you doing today? I'm back from my hiatus, and this is actually me from the future, because you see, well, during the time I was away, the IDW arc, Chao races and Badnik bases, wrapped up. So I figured instead of having the first part be its own video, and then having the last 3 issues be their own video, I could just put it all together and have the whole arc be its own video. So I'm going to be splicing in my review of the first issue right here, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to talk about the other 3. So, me from the past, take it away. So the issue picks up shortly after the Zombots have been dealt with, and as we can see, Omega is still in fact ahead. Amy and Rouge ask if they can fix it, but in Tails' own words, Omega is way beyond the simple tune-up. He would need a whole set of U100 parts, and even if he had that, he would still need to be able to decipher Omega's code, which at the time he's simply unable to do. So, Sonic and Rouge each come up with their own plan. Sonic says that they should go and try and find the cipher in one of Eggman's old bases. Meanwhile, Rouge wants to go to White Park Zone to win Omega some new parts and a Chao racing circuit. So the team split off. Sonic and Tails go to try and find the cipher, while Amy and Rouge recruit Cream to their team, so that way they can use Cheese to try and win the Chao racing circuit and win new parts. So Sonic and Tails investigate the base. Not much to say about this part of the issue, except there's a dark figure lurking in the background. Meanwhile, the girls are driving along the road in Amy's car from All Stars Racing, which is a nice touch, and they almost hit Shadow with it. So Shadow shows up, and they ask if he can help them out, but of course, in typical IDW Shadow fashion, he's completely apathetic towards everything and everyone. So they get there and they see the guy that they need to win the parts from, named Clutch, who is said to have a large cache of both technology and... So they enter Cheese in the race, and he's able to qualify, but Clutch asks Rouge if he can meet him in his penthouse later. Clutch makes Rouge an offer. If Cheese is able to win the next race, then he'll trade whatever parts Rouge needs for Cheese. One part I actually liked is that in other books, you make it seem like Rouge is actually going to do it, and that at the last minute she would switch off, and it would be obvious that she isn't going to do it, but in this she straight up says that she's not going to do it. Well, she says that to Omega. To Clutch, Clutch seems fully convinced that she's willing to do it. But then Rouge gets met in the hallway by a figure wearing a hood, who takes it off to reveal someone that we don't get to see. Meanwhile, with Shadow, we actually get to see that he's somewhat conflicted about whether or not he should have helped the girls, but he ultimately decides that's not his problem. Which I guess is better than nothing, but still... What seems to be the same cloaked figure approaches him, and Shadow tries to restrain him to figure out his identity, but he gets knocked off a roof as the issue ends. Alright, we're back. So, without any further ado, let's hop right into the next issue, issue 34. So it opens with Amy and Cream, and they're talking about the stuff that's going on here. And they talk about how they have to go, put Cheese in another Chao competition. And we cut back to Shadow, and he's like, God damn it, that guy kicked me off the roof, the son of a gun, I'm gonna get him. So then he goes to the cabin where the Chao races are being held, and it's kind of an interesting scene, because it keeps cutting between the race and Shadow investigating this shady back area. And we see him investigate this thing that has a tarp over it, and he is very clearly disgusted by what he sees. And then he hears Omega. And then we cut back to the race, and we see Cheese going up against mainly a Shadow Chao. There's a bunch of Chao there, but the main one we see kind of giving Cheese trouble is the Shadow Chao. Cheese wins the race. So then Rouge tries to take Cheese, so that way she can enact her plan on Clutch. But alas, Clutch isn't being fooled. So she just has Shadow kick him in the face. And then we see that the thing that Shadow was so disgusted about was the fact that Clutch has all these Chao locked up. Now he's been abusing them. And basically, if they don't win, they get put back in this cage, and it's real bad. So we cut back to the Eggman base that Sonic and Tails are at, where we are introduced to a new character, Belle, who Sonic... Have I mentioned I don't like IDW's interpretation of Sonic? I don't know if I've mentioned that, but I don't. But so he just immediately starts attacking her. And Tails is like, Sonic, stop being an asshole. What are you doing? So yeah, we find out, about her. And the implication is that it was Eggman probably made her while he was Mr. Tinker. She almost refers to him as Dad. But, yeah, she is very adamant about the fact that Dr. Eggman is not her creator. Some Badnik show up, they start fighting him, and Sonic's like, well, this should be fun. And that brings us to an end of issue 34. So let's hop right into issue 35, and I'll get to my concise thoughts about the arc at the end. So issue 35 opens up with Sonic, Bell, and Tails. And they're all going up against these Badniks. You know, they're running. They get out of the base. So they get a call from Rouge saying, like, hey, come to this cabin, we need your help. So they go on the tornado. Sonic and Tails, or, you know, Tails flies it, and Sonic and Bell ride on the wing. It's like, there's a passenger seat in the tornado, I'm pretty sure, right? Like, I know at least in other Sonic media, like maybe Sonic X, we've seen, like, Sonic will ride on the wing and maybe, like, Amy in the back. Or maybe I'm thinking of what was it called? Like the Typhoon or something from Sonic X, the really big plane he had? I don't know. So they get to the cabin. Amy kind of fills Sonic in on what's been happening. They introduce Bell. It's revealed that Clutch was actually not unconscious. So then he sicks Big Robot Bear and some other Badniks on them. They fight. We get to see Amy fight, which is cool. And then it is revealed that Rouge was hypnotized into saying that distress call, and both her and Tails are tied up on this roller coaster. So Sonic makes chase. He falls, Shadow catches him, the Sonado fans go crazy. So they both are given chase to this roller coaster. When it's revealed, Starlin who was doing this. But Starlin had been prepared to have Sonic and Shadow chase him, so he had it rigged so that way he could trigger an avalanche. So that way they would have to go and, you know, protect the cabin from being buried under snow. So he could get away with Tails and Rouge. So last but not least for this arc, we have issue 36, which opens up with the preview that I'm sure we all saw and everyone on Twitter got mad about, of Sonic and Shadow running after this roller coaster. And Sonic's like, well, we gotta go save all these people from the avalanche, and Shadow's like, nah, I'm good. So Sonic goes to try and do it by himself. You know, I'm gonna get into this at the end because I feel like I need the full context of the story to talk about why this is an issue. But let it be known, this is an issue regardless of what happens at the end. So Shadow pursues Dr. Starlin. They trigger a sound protocol in Omega, which knocks Starlin off of the roller coaster, so he hippity hops away. And Shadow wants to pursue him, but Rouge is like, you need to go stop that avalanche, you asshole! And Shadow's like, oh, well, don't tell me what to do. I'm the ultimate life form. And Rouge is like, yeah, I'm not, whatever. So we come back to Amy there, and her and Gemerald are fighting these robots. And Cream is like, hey, Chaos, could you maybe help them fight? And there's this adorable panel of Cheese and the Shadow Chao, like handshaking. It's really cute. But so they get out and they all destroy the robots. But they don't have much time to celebrate before Tails and Rouge bust in. They're like, hey, we're all about to die and be buried by an avalanche, so you know we need to get out of here. So we cut back to Sonic, who's like, I don't know how to do this. When Shadow shows up and he's like, hey, I'm gonna help you, I guess. And he justifies it by saying how he's in Sonic's debt because of all the Zombot stuff that went down. Well, initially they try to cut up a bunch of trees to make a dam to block the avalanche. It fails miserably. We cut back to the cabin where Starlin's making a scene. He's using the Tricore, which we see in the Sonic Bad Guys miniseries. A review of that should be coming next week. But sure enough, he fails. He isn't able to capture Tails for whatever nefarious purposes he wanted Tails for. And he gets buried by the avalanche. And we find out that apparently the avalanche wasn't that much of a threat, because in the words of, I think, Omo-Chow, it's kind of hard to see in this panel, apparently, quote, the cabin was built to, or the chateau, I've been referring to it as a cabin this whole time, don't yell at me in the comments, please, was built to withstand this. So, more or less it didn't matter. So Sonic and Tails show up, and even Shadow's like, so we didn't need to go and do that, that's cool. But so Tails asks Bell to come and kind of be his assistant in his workshop. They rebuild Omega. Cream's mom shows up. There's a funny bit there. It cuts back to Shadow. Well, it cuts to Sonic and Shadow, and they're talking in the woods. And Sonic's like, you know, I appreciate that you came to help. And Shadow's like, Shut up. And then cuts to Tails and Bell. And he's like, I know Eggman created you. Like, you were able to read the cipher. Like, what? Why are you lying to us? And she's like, no, he didn't. Because, again, she was probably made by him while he was Mr. Tinker. But regardless. And then the last thing we see is that, oh my god, I'm just now realizing Dr. Starlin has a live, laugh, love mug. That's awesome. But apparently, what I assumed was that Starlin wanted Tails for his, prowess with machines. But seemingly, he wanted his DNA, because he's like, well, I've got Tails' hair, which should be enough for, the project I need. Are we getting a metal Tails? Well, what is this? What are we doing here? I don't know. But, and that's where the issue ends. So, this arc, I didn't love it, but I also didn't hate it. It kind of falls in the middle for me. There were some nice moments. It's kind of funny. Let's address the elephant in the room. The Shadow bit. Him coming to help Sonic at the end because Rouge guilt trips him is not good enough. Sorry, it's straight up not. Like, one key element of Shadow's character should always be how he values innocent life. He should understand better than anyone the hurt of losing someone. And literally the last words of the person who was so important to him that he was willing to destroy the world to avenge her is save people. Like, be a good guy. And no amount of some duck-billed asshole pissing him off should make him forget that. Like, and even a minor, and I get it, I don't necessarily blame Evan Stanley for this. She's said on her Tumblr, like, it's not up to me how Shadow's characterized, people liked him back in Archie, people liked him, like, during 06, and the way he was there. That's just not how Sega wants him to be portrayed anymore. This is how Sega wants him to be portrayed. There's only so much I can do about it. But I feel even a minor alteration, so let's say, we have the panel where Sonic goes like, hey, help me stop this avalanche. What if instead of not interested, he goes, you can do that on your, he goes, you're capable of doing that on your own. We can't let Starling get away. He's too dangerous. Right there. That's all it takes to make it go from him being just straight up okay with innocent people dying to him simply prioritizing how he keeps people safe differently than Sonic. Also, you could talk more about the personal aspect of, Starlin has one of Shadow's friends, quote unquote, whatever Sega says about that, tied up on a roller coaster. He wants to make sure she's safe. But they don't. It's straight up just like, Starlin pissed him off and he's willing to let innocent people die because of it. Like, that's how they do it. Like, it should never be a question of, is Shadow going to protect people? Shadow should always want to protect people. It should just be a matter of how. Like, I refuse to believe that the same guy who sacrificed his life in SA2, the same guy who in Shadow the Hedgehog said he would protect the planet that Maria loved, the same guy who fought for humanity despite seeing the fact that they would one day turn against him, there's no way that is the same guy who would let a bunch of innocent people die in an avalanche. And, there was the controversy a while back when Shadow more or less let himself be turned into a Zombot because he didn't want to run away. I saw that as a little different. And the reason I saw that as different is because it's like, well, yeah, obviously, Shadow is very prideful. He refers to himself as the ultimate life form. Like, of course he's going to be a little full of himself. Like, I wasn't as irritated by that as other people. I was irritated by the stuff I saw, coming out of interviews with Ian Flynn and all that, where it's like, yeah, Sega says that Team Dark isn't really a thing, and Shadow doesn't have friends, and he doesn't really care about anything. But I guess because I wasn't seeing that, because all that stuff came out while Shadow was a Zombot, it didn't really hit me as hard. But seeing it in action is really frustrating. And I get that Evan Stanley's trying to play with this whole thing of yeah, Shadow acts all stoic and he doesn't care, but really he does. But, again, then don't have him be so okay with, I probably sound like a broken record here, if you want to say that he really does care and how his stoicism is just like this outer shell he has, then don't have him be okay with innocent people dying in an avalanche. And other than that, you know, I think a major issue I have is, again, Sonic's characterization is bad. It's really bad. It's really, 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 really bad. Like, not even necessarily in this arc, just in the series in general. I mean, this guy's been doing that, like, they want us to believe this is the same guy who's been doing it for, you know, years now. And he's so immature, and he doesn't really go through anything. Like, he doesn't change or develop. I don't know. And I remember I saw something on Twitter a while back. It was saying something to the effect of, like, how IDW, during the Zombot arc, how it relied too much on shock value. How, like, every issue was, oh man, who's gonna get turned into a Zombot this time? What crazy thing is gonna happen this issue? And I wasn't sure if I believed that to be the case, but I was like, well, I guess we'll see, you know, if that's true based on how the series goes after the Zombot arc. And I gotta tell you, maybe they were right. Because if you're not allowed to have the characters, like, change and develop and go through legitimate arcs, then the best you can really do is go, oh my god, can you believe they did this issue? And if you don't have that, and again, this maybe makes it sound like I hated the arc. I didn't hate the arc. I think it was decent. I think it was a decent introduction for Evan Stanley writing the book. But it's no Archie. Well, pre-Genesis Archie. I haven't read much post-Genesis Archie. So yeah, in summary, good, not great, but not bad either. Am I alone in thinking Belle's probably gonna die? Like, I feel like they're gonna kill her off and make people sad. And to show, like, oh man, because presumably you're gonna have her confront Eggman at some point. And you're probably gonna have him blow her up or something to show, like, oh, he's really evil now, you know, there's no going back. I don't know, maybe not. You know, she seems to be really beloved by the fans, but that might just be another reason that they'd want to kill her off. Honestly, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just putting that there now. I will not be surprised if Belle meets an unfortunate end before this series is done. But anyway, overall, again, good arc, not great arc. Yeah. Come back next week when I will have my review up of Sonic Bad Guys, the full story. It'll be roughly similar format as this. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. You know, I hope your New Year's been going good so far. Hope you're all staying safe. I hope you look forward to the future for this channel. Now that I'm back from my hiatus, I got some projects in the works that I'm really excited to put out. Thank y'all for watching. If you like to see, be sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, and help grow the channel. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.